it's long overdue that I did a Hatha yoga video. I'll show you some basic postures that I do on a regular basis. I'm here visiting some friends for a weekend in southern Italy, and I just woke up, so excuse my voice. Alright, so basically one of the key ideas with Hatha yoga or stretching is that movement follows breath. So breathing always envelopes movement. So you start, for example, inhaling here, and then you start moving here, and you do your movement, and then at this point you stop the movement, you continue to inhale, and then you finish. So within this full range, this much of it is the movement, the whole thing is breathing. Another basic principle is that when you expand the lungs, you inhale. In other words, when you're making movements that make the lungs bigger, you make an inhale. For example, here I'm raising my arms above my head, so my lung is getting bigger. So in this movement I want to do an inhale. So basically, excuse me, I'm going to start here, do an inhale and bring the arms up. So I'm going to start with the breathing always. So I'm going to go. And the opposite is always on an exhale. So the airs are leaving the lungs. So here I'm going to go all the way down. During this whole period I was exhaling. So you have inhale and exhale. Inhale on the expanding movement and exhale on the reverse. Another basic principle is you don't want to do these after you've eaten, so you should give yourself 2-3 hours after eating before you do these. You shouldn't do these when you're ill or under certain medical conditions. Of course, you should always check with your doctor if you have any doubts about whether these will affect your state of health. I'm just sharing with you some of the stuff that I do. So, some basic movements. Here we go. I'm going to inhale and go down, exhale and come up. So I always start with the breath, and then the movement follows. And throughout the whole range of movement, I'm continuing with that breath. So I'm going to make a sound here so you can hear the breathing. And now I'm going to inhale. Coming up on my toes, and I'm going to exhale and go down. And going to repeat. Inhale and come up. Exhale, go down. And after the movement, you just give it a few moments, a example that my old yoga teacher used to use was that it's like putting a sponge in the water and you let it go and it soaks up the water. Similarly, we've massaged our sponge and then we just let it just be, so it can absorb what they call here prana or life force. Excuse me, I just woke up. Okay, so as you saw, sometimes I brought my arms up like that, sometimes I brought it up like that. There's really no hard and fast way of doing these things. You just got to tailor them to your own individual need and what your body feels like doing. And I repeat things like sometimes 4 times, sometimes 6 times. It just depends on how I feel. Sometimes I go faster, sometimes I go slower. Maybe in the morning it's a little bit slower, maybe you're a little bit more stiff in the morning. So you just got to go along with your body's own intelligence. It just basically tells you what it needs. Excuse me. And also, I mean, just a general note about these postures in general is that these are just a part of your life that I need to clear my voice. I'll be back. These postures give you a lot of benefits. One of the key benefits is that it reverses gravity. In our daily life, we're usually either lying down, standing up or lying down at night, and the gravity is always pulling us this way or this way. But so what these postures do is that they reverse the gravity, so they make the cells less tense in a way, and they somewhat slow down the process of aging, which is effectively due to gravity and wear and tear. But these are not for everybody. Now yoga has become very commercialized. You can take power yoga in the gym and this and that and go and sweat and try to become something. This is not about becoming. This is not another act of ambition which is plaguing society or competition. Who can go further? Whose yoga is better than the others? It's not about this kind of thing. These things were devised a long time ago. The story goes that they were devised by these kings in ancient India who wanted to keep young. They used to eat some sort of a plant which was not available anymore, so they devised these postures. And they're just part of a holistic life. They're just one leg of the triangle. And there's other aspects of life which need to be in tune with the totality. So yoga is to, one of the meanings of it is union. Yoga, yoke, and union. Union of the different aspects of your being. And these things that we're concentrating on now are just the physical aspect. I don't believe and I don't subscribe to the many of the other aspects of yoga which have to do with some spiritual things. I'm not unspiritual, but I don't believe you can get anywhere through any kind of a practice, so-called spiritually, because it's not about becoming. It's not about having a method. A method implies you do 1, 2, 3, 4 and you get somewhere. But the place you're trying to get at may not be a fixed point. It may be moving itself, may be dynamic. And so to repeat something to get somewhere is just somehow doesn't make sense to me. However, these physical aspects are really wonderful, and these are called Hatha yoga. And then there's also Raja yoga, which is wonderful, which is basically deep breathing and different breathing exercises. So I do try to do those as well. So let's do another posture and we talk later. The second posture is similar to the first one, except that I bring a leg forward and do the same thing. So my right leg is to the front. I'm going to inhale and come up. And exhale and go down. And bend the right leg and hands come to the foot and the neck is hanging, it's relaxed. And you stay 4 breaths. And then you inhale and come up. Hands together behind your head and you bend back a little bit. Then arms to the front and feet together. Left. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go down. Bend the left leg, bring the hands to your foot, or as far as you can go comfortably. You take 4 breaths. Inhale and come up. Then the other side again. Inhale. Exhale. Left leg is bent. Head and neck are relaxed. Inhale. So as I said, these are not for everybody. If the rest of your life is a mess, if you don't know how to respect other people's rights, if you... there's so many things to living a correct, good, balanced life, and these help a little bit, but you cannot achieve anything through these. These are just meant for keeping the body healthy and limber. Because when the spine is limber, it can be healthy, and massaging the glands, helping the circulation, reversing gravity, releasing tension. It's good for these kinds of things, but it's not a mean to achieve something grand. Those things, that other movement, the unlimited movement, which is not of time and thought, cannot be achieved through any kind of a practice. But that's a different subject. You cannot achieve enlightenment through doing these postures. And anybody that tells you, do these things and you will be enlightened, is probably lying. But anyway, we should question whether enlightenment is a final event in time to begin with, because we have these cultural or traditional ideas that you achieve enlightenment and that's it, then you're enlightened. Is it really? I don't know. Somehow it doesn't make sense that anything is a final event in time, because I think it makes more sense that a state of being fully aware of what you can be aware of is a moment-to-moment thing, is not just one fixed point that you achieve. Anyway, beside the point. There are two ways of doing the postures, a dynamic way and a static way. The dynamic way is that you go in and out of the posture on each breath. A static way is that you go into a posture and you stay there. And one increases flexibility and one increases strength. But it's up to you. You have to just see how your body feels. Sometimes I do one or the other. Just have to see how it feels. Okay, another one is somewhat of a triangle pose. My legs are spread. The left foot is turned outwards. The right foot is turned forwards. Inhale and I come up. Then I exhale and take the right hand behind the left foot and bring the left arm above and turn and look at the left palm. I take some normal breaths here. And I inhale and come up. And the left foot became to the front. The other side, right foot out. Exhale. Left hand behind, left foot on the floor if you can, or go as far as you can. Turn your palm of the right hand forward and look at it. Inhale and come up. Now I'm going to do a dynamic way where I just do it on one breath. Inhale. Here I can rest and do the other side after a few breaths. Why not? Or I can continue without the rest. That's up to how I feel at the time. So a very important aspect of this is that you do not go too far. Don't go to the point that it starts hurting. If you're hurting, you're doing it wrong. So you just basically go to where it's comfortable. And then you can go a little bit further. But don't go to the point that it starts hurting. This is a gentle yoga. It's very different than how yoga is done these days in the modern world. But this kind of yoga is also fairly popular. It became more popular with a guy who is a good teacher of this, but let's not get into details. So let's do this again. Inhale. I will show you what's called a half moon pose, where you inhale, come up, on the toes, exhale and go to one side gently and breathe normally. Inhale, come up. Inhale, come up. Exhale. I made a sound so you can hear that after the movement finished, the breathing continued. Another standing posture, legs apart, left foot turns outwards. Bring your arms up on inhale. Exhale, bend the left knee. Put the right arm on your left knee and bring the right arm above your head. And then you can repeat this movement with breathing. When I turn like this, I look backwards on the palm. And you can stay a few breaths in this position, for example. So here you saw I mixed the dynamic and the static postures. First I did it dynamically, and then at the end I stayed a few breaths into the pose. Do the other side. I stay a few breaths in this position. Tree pose. There's different variations of this. So, tree pose. There are different variations of this. One variation is to bring the foot up and put it on the side. I'm wearing slippers here because the floor is cold. And you bring your arms up. You can take some breaths, like you can put your hands together like this. Another variation would be to bring a foot like this. And then you can take the foot like that. And finally, you can go down like this. I saw a picture of Princess Diana doing this pose once. So I'll show you on this side how it looks like. That was before she was killed by some strange circumstances. And you can, this is what I learned from my old yoga teacher, kind of, you know, the tree pose, the two sides, just kind of balances the energy. I don't know if it does or not, but it's just kind of become a tradition. The other side, I'll do the same sequence as I did on the other side. Left side, just to be consistent. Feels so good. Okay, let's show you on the side here. I don't know, there's too much culture into this kind of a thing. I'm not an Indian and I'm not Japanese, and I guess I'm everything, but never mind, just I'm a human, so it's okay to do these things. Alright, so it's really good to jumping just seems to be a really good thing for the body. Do it on one leg and then both. Standing postures. What else we got? So one is that you can bring your arms up, and then you can go down like this, up again. Exhale. Obviously, my feet stay on the floor. Or an alternative is to go up and then you bring your arms down as you squat. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go down. You just stand still and you just scan your body for where you're holding. And you just let go. Just through that attention. Attention lets go of tension. Attention is the antithesis of tension. Here's a good one I learned from Dr. Parchuri. You put your forehead and knees and your toes to the wall. Forehead and therefore nose, knees and feet. And then you just go down. Keeping the forehead. It's really good for these muscles here. This is exercise. I mean, these are all exercises in some ways. Standing pose, what else? Here's one where you can take your right leg up over the other one. Bring your right arm up and the left arm on top of it, and hands like this. And then you can go down if you want. Come up. I don't usually do this because this kind of goes like that. This is this kind of a stretch, and I'm already doing too much of that, being on the computer a lot and so on. But it's not a bad one. This floor is quite hard and I don't really have a mat. I guess I can come up with some sort of a blanket, but I'm using this towel which a dear friend gave me a long time ago, and it's a very useful multi-purpose item. I'll show you these fairly quickly because this floor is kind of cold. But in terms of sitting postures, one of the basic postures is this, which is very good. This is very healthy for many things, including digestion. One basic pose is to do a twist, simple twist. You bring the arm like this. Back of the right hand behind you, left hand on the side, and you turn all the way with your neck like that. So one pose is like this, you come up on your knees, and you go down with your forehead to the floor. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go down. Okay, that's cool. So this was this, and this was this, the second one. This one has a lot of variations. You can go one arm at a time, for example. You bring the other one behind you. Arm is stretching above my head, you can't see it. So one at a time and then two at a time. So when I'm up, it's like that. Inhale, come up. Exhale, go down. And then, this is a good pose. It's like a doggy pose, where you bring your back up, and then you take it down. So the back is like this, and then it's like this. This also has variations, like you can do this, for example. Stretching see the leg is behind me and the arm is ahead. You can stay a few breaths. You can do the other side. One thing I learned from a physiotherapist was you can put your hands like this, then bring your chin to the floor. It just gives your back here and your neck, your shoulders a stretch. I'm doing them a little bit fast because the floor is cold, but it's better to do them slower and take time between the sequences. Another floor posture is to, well, let me finish these, what I call the prayer postures, because the Islamic prayers are also in this pose and also in this pose. Which is really a great simple pose. It's very healthy. There's variations of this in yoga where you can put your arms behind you and on the floor and the head to the floor. My grandfather, after during his daily prayers, used to stay in this pose for a long time. Just in this pose, he would just recite his prayers. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih. Another pose would be on your back. Can you see me? There's a lot of variations here. So basically one is to inhale and come up with one leg, exhale and go down. Other side. You can bring the legs like this and go to a 45-degree angle or whatever, 38-degree angle. And I'm still combining these with breath. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, you can go to the 90-degree. You can go like that. Stay several breaths. Here's a good one. So you start inhaling after you fix your collar. Inhale, come up. Arms can go all the way behind you. Exhale. Or arms can come up to 90 degrees. You can stay static or repeat in a dynamic fashion. It's up to you how you feel. Exhale. You can take your hands like this under you and come up. do the basic one again. This would be an exhale. It actually can be done the reverse, where you inhale and go up. But I sometimes do it the other way, because as you're coming down on an inhale, expanding the lungs forces your spine further to the floor, and you come down little by little, one vertebrae at a time. Similar to this idea of this guy here. This is a handstand. On this hard floor, it's a bit hard. You can go up, back like this, and then you can inhale and come down. Very gently, slowly. That was not so slow. Slowly. And that inhale presses the spine down the floor further. This is a simple twist. You can stay for a few breaths. So feet are together. They turn, your head and shoulder turns the other side. Or there's a more full twist like this. And the most important posture, just laying down, scanning the body from toes to the head, and releasing any tension that comes to your attention. Just letting go. Good. Now, very important pose is the headstand. It's not a good idea to do it on a hard floor, so let me see if I can find something. Here's an extra towel. It's still not sufficient, but just to show you how it works. This is kind of an advanced pose, so you shouldn't do it on day one. And once you are ready to do it, it's better to do it against the wall first, just so you get used to the balance. It's kind of like riding a bicycle. After a while, you'll get it. So, the important thing is to start your arms like this, together, on the floor. Then you raise, then you open your arms and put your hands together, your fingers interlaced, and your head half in your hands and partly on the floor, and you start walking yourself up and going for it. Sometimes I do some variations, like I can bring one leg down, open your legs like this maybe. To get really ambitious, you can go like that. My body just loves this pose. It really reverses the gravity in full. Then you come down slowly. I like to stay here for a moment, not doing anything too jerky. And then doing a counter pose. Every pose has a counter pose, or many poses do. The counter pose for this is a good old cobra, or a variation of it, which is several variations. You can take your arms behind you, or one thing I learned from my dear Polish friend, you go like that. And then while here, I like to put the forehead, put your hands together like this, put the forehead on it, and then you can go side to side. This is good for loosening up the spine. You can go into bigger movements. These are some of the stuff I learned from Feldenkrais. That would be the next video. Maybe I'll show you some Feldenkrais. And then you can do a very important pose, which is like that. You inhale and come up. You exhale and go down. Stay several breaths. And inhale, come up. A wonderful pose. And the other side. Three times, and then stay some breaths. There's a simple twist which I showed you, and here's a more full twist. I'm gonna bring my right leg on top of the left hand behind the right knee, grabbing the right foot, and then right hand comes behind you, and you look all the way to the right. This is a kind of a tough posture. And the other side. And I find that, for example, I am more limber in one side than the other, and this shows itself in some postures like this one. What else? Floor postures. I think that's more or less it. It's important to end the practices with a relaxation, You scan your body for any tension and you let it go. And in the next chapter I'll show you some breathing exercises.